Hello, fan base. This is your boy, the Green Times, coming at you with the final video for the NFL regular season. This is the after this video, there will not be any more videos talking about the Philadelphia Eagles for this coming season because we all know how it happened, how it went down, how it began, how it begun, and most importantly, how it's going to end. So, without any further ado, um, I know a lot of you people out there are probably wondering why I said this the last and final video. Well, simple. Season comes to an end, and it was not a happy-go-lucky season because our record now stands at 4-11-1. And like I said many times ago, many times over, on what I'm trying to say is that when we lost that week 3 game against the Cincinnati Bengals, which actually turned out to be a tie, I think I said this quite a few videos of mine, that a tie works in two ways. If you got a winning record, it works for you. And if you got a losing record, it works against you. And so with the Eagles now having a losing margin of 4-11-1, that tie makes it actually 4-12 because the tie is now considered a loss in our NFL Philadelphia Eagles pedigree. And it's no longer now it's no longer now 4-11-1. It's now 4-12 because the tie is officially a loss. So many injuries, so many back-to-back injuries for some of these players because a lot of these guys were old. They were over 29 years and older. Some of the guys that turned 30 this year, and some of the guys are just 30 and probably 31 years old. Some of the guys are salary cap casualties. A lot of them won't be back this year. So the Eagles are probably going to look at more of the young players between 2016, 17, 18, and 19, and this year alone. So I said in the last five of the last 7-year stretch, we got a lot of young talent that we got to consider bringing back on 1-year basis because the Eagles are 70 million over the cap, and all these rumors going on about Carson Wentz wanting out of Philadelphia. He wants a trade. They're saying that he might want to restructure his deal so the contract will be capable of being considered for any team that wants to pick up his contract and move him to another team. That's a good possibility. That might happen this year as well. So it's a lot of speculation going on with Carson Wentz. A lot of people don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I said it several times before. I'm not putting my trust on a rookie quarterback because a rookie quarterback is just learning the system. They ain't been in the system 3, 4, 5 years like Carson Wentz has. The guy has had a bad season. The guy had 50 sacks. I mean, he been sacked 50 times behind a banged up offensive line. That been in players being in and out. Stars got hurt, and if you guys remember, on this offensive line of the 5 stars, only one is the remaining starter, and that was Jason Kelsey. Now, had Kelsey got hurt this season, the Eagles will probably be in worse position than where they are now. If you guys remember the body bag game, was against none other than the former Washington Redskins football team back in that time. The Eagles at that time they were killing quarterbacks, they were killing running backs, killing wide receivers. They were basically beating up on a bad Washington football team. So imagine if Jason Kelsey was out for the rest of the year, this would be the body bag game all over again, but except time it would have been Washington delivering the blow instead of the Eagles delivering the blow. So thank God that Jason Kelsey did not get hurt this year. He had gotten banged up a few times in the season, but the banged up didn't keep him out of the game because they know that if Kelsey didn't play, the Eagles would be in a whole lot of trouble than what they was in the beginning of the season up to the end of the season as we speak. So I got some more things to say, but before I go there, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the stats because the Eagles have lost today's game. This is actually week 16, the final week of the season. The Eagles have lost this game 20-14 to the Washington football team. Like I said earlier in the video. I'm gonna go ahead with all the stats. I'm gonna go ahead with the Washington football team. Alex Smith had 22 of 32, 22 completions of 32 attempts for 162 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he also had 1 fumble that was lost. No, I'm sorry. He had 1 fumble that wasn't lost. I forgot the fumble. It was recovered by an offensive lineman. Jalen Hurts, who started the last 4 games of the season up until today's game, had only 7 attempts. I'm sorry, 7 completions of 20 attempts, which means that he only had 13 incomplete passes. And that's really bad because if you think about it, those 13 incomplete passes were actually balls that were thrown over the receiver or the receiver dropping balls and fumbles for that matter. So that's your 13 incompletions for 72 yards, 1 interception. But he did have 2 rushing touchdowns, which made it 14, because those are the only 14 points that he scored on his own. And those was off design run plays. Now, the rushing attempts. Boston Scott, that we all call B Scott, had 15 carries. 15 carries for 65 yards, no score. Jalen Hurts, 8 carries, 34 yards, 2 scores. Nate Sudfeld, the quarterback, he had 2 carries for 12 yards. Jay Huntley, 2 carries, 5 yards. And the boy Hightower and Clemens, they both had 1 carry, 1 yard, 1 yard each. And that's bad statistics. The only positive in this one is the Boston Scott and the Jalen Hurts carries. Now the receiving yards. Jay Arteaga-Whiteside, who I believe is gone after this year, or maybe considered trade bait for either a future draft pick or maybe for a draft pick for this season. He only had 2 receptions for 40 yards. Zach Ertz had 2 receptions for 16 yards. Travis Fulgham had 1 reception for 15 yards. Jalen Reagor, 1 reception for 15 yards. Boston Scott, 2 receptions, 14 yards. Corey Clemens, 1 reception, 7 yards. Quez Watkins, 1 reception, 6 yards. Greg Ward, 1 reception, 6 yards. And Jay Huntley had 1 reception for -0 yards, which means that he caught the ball but didn't get no yard, didn't get a single yard. Whatever -0 yard means. And if you notice, all receptions that I said, no touchdown scores. Need I say more? Now the sacks, and these were actually pretty good. the defense played pretty good. But the leading sacker, the leading tackler on the team was Alex Singleton, who we believe is going to be the starting linebacker going into the next year's regular season. He had 14 tackles, 1 sack. T.J. Edwards, 7 tackles, 4 assists, 1 interception. K. Wallace or Kavon Wallace, I think it's either Kevin Wallace or Kavon Wallace, one of them. He had 6 tackles, 1 assist. Gerald Arnold, 5 tackles, 2 assists. Malik Jackson, 5 tackles, 3 assists, 1 sack. Epps, 4 tackles, 2 assists, 1 interception. Ford. These are the guys I'm talking about now are probably practice squad guys or probably backup players on the team. R. Ford, 3 tackles, 1 assist. B. Countess, 3 tackles. J. Hargrove, 3 tackles, 1 assist. Smith, 3 tackles, 1 assist. Darius Clay, 2 tackles, 1 assist. All right, continue. McGill, 2 tackles. BG, 1 tackle, 1 assist. Vinny Curry, 1 tackle. Williams, 1 tackle, 1 sack. And Avery, 1 tackle, 1 assist. Punt return yards, Greg Ward only had 4 returns for 18 yards for a 4.5 yard average. And the punting, Johnston, he had 5 TOTs, 226 yards, a 45.2 yard average. Now, since I gave you all the statistics of today's game that we lost 20-14, this is gonna be one of them years or one of these off seasons that's gonna be quite strange to us, because for the simple fact is a lot finna go down. There's finna be a changing of the guards and the coaching staff. Howie Roseman is either gonna get fired or he's gonna get demoted, or he might have some title taken from him and for as player evaluation, which is why they brought in John Dorsey to be the consultant. But we all believe that he might become vice president of player personnel, which makes him overall talent evaluators, which I hope that will go down, so that can take Howie Roseman away from the talent evaluators and lead the talent to the coaching staff and to the talent evaluators and with the scouting team, and let Howie Roseman stay way back in the office somewhere and let him deal with the contract negotiation, which is where he needs to be in the first place. Because the last 4 drafts, the Eagles have bombed out on players that they misevaluated or they did not try to get in the draft process. And so much could be said about that part. And then, most importantly, a lot of these players won't be back this year because most of them are salary cap casualties. They might be released, they might get cut, or they might get traded depending on their value. So we don't know how they're going to turn out. All we know is the Eagles are going to figure out some way to get under the $75 to $80 million cap hit that they're suffering for this coming season, because of the fact is Howie Roseman has signed veterans to long-term contracts, and they have not lived up to their expectations. So that's one of the reasons why we are in salary cap hell, because you sign players that don't fulfill their potential. So I'm not sure exactly what the situation was or what he was thinking about when all this was done. It's just a horrible shame that the team is going through this, because if you think about it now, the entire NFC East, the Giants, the Washington Redskins, and the Dallas Cowboys, those 3 teams are ahead of the curve already. They don't they've drafted real well. They drafted extraordinarily well. But of the 14, the Dallas Cowboys is the only team that's probably more stable than the Washington Redskins, the Giants, and the Eagles. The Eagles had took several steps back, while the New York Giants built through the draft and signed free agents and made pretty good, excellent trades for players that they gambled on and won. The Washington Redskins front four are top 10 draft picks. And of those top 10 draft picks, they got more Alabama draft players than any team probably in the NFC East. And for the life of me, the Eagles have have somehow refused to draft players from Alabama. I really don't understand why they have not. I think I have been reminded or been reinformed that the the Eagles has drafted a wide receiver by the name of Freddie Millins. Now that's a guy who I pretty much forgot because he haven't had much of an impact with the Eagles. I think Andy Reid drafted Freddie Millins, I think in the third or fourth round, way back in the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? And I think he only lasted 1 or 2 seasons with the Eagles, 1 or 2 seasons, and he was released and never played another down in the NFL again. So that's one of the reasons why I forgot about Freddie Millins because he was an Alabama player. You know what I'm saying? I think matter of fact, he was the last player the Eagles drafted from Alabama, I believe. Might have been the only one, far as I know. But yeah, the Eagles somehow refused to draft players from Alabama, and I do not understand why, or for the life of me. Um, they do draft from the SEC, just not from Alabama. Like I said, I don't understand why. So I'm hoping this change this season because the Eagles need a cornerback, and the only cornerback that is worthy of a top pick is probably Patrick Surtain, and probably the son of Patrick Surtain's son. Now the way that's looking, we might not get him now because the Eagles now drafted number 6, unless they gamble and move up higher in the draft to get Patrick Surtain's son. That's the only thing I see going on with the first round pick. But then see, if you move up, you lose picks. But if you go down, you gain picks. So that's gonna be trickery in the 2021 NFL draft coming up because it's gonna be so much talent in this draft for running backs and defensive backs. This gonna be a heavy defensive back running back draft coming up. Not too many quarterbacks. I think only 2 quarterbacks in the draft that coming up is the boy from Clemson and the other boy from let me see. He played the other day. Oklahoma, not Oklahoma. What was it? Ohio. I think it's Ohio State. I believe. I'm not exactly sure, but it ain't many. This is not a quarterback heavy draft, but it is heavy in defensive backs and running backs this year. Um, Also in defense too. So that's why I say I predict the Eagles to go defensive in the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft, and the fifth, sixth, and seventh offensive players. So that's my prediction. I could be wrong, but everybody got their own opinion of how the draft going to work out. So I don't know. But all I know is that the Eagles are in deep hell right now, and I pray and hope that they figure out some way to keep some of these guys, rework some of their contracts, and keep who they can keep here, and build off the young talent they got from the last 3 drafts. Bring in a pretty good coaching staff that can teach these guys the fundamentals of playing offense, defense, and special teams. Because, like I said before, we need a wide receiver coach, we need a offensive coordinator, and we need a new defensive coordinator because Jim Schwartz is retiring this year and he would not be back. So they need to bring in a defensive coordinator that knows the 3 and that knows the 4-3, and that can create pressure not just with the front 4 but also with the linebackers and safety blitzes. That's what I really miss. The Eagles need to be a physical defense. We have not been a physical defense since Jim Schwartz left. And I mean, I'm sorry, not Jim Schwartz. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Jim Schwartz. I mean, since Jim Johnson left, the Eagles had not been a physical defense since Jim Johnson left. So, wow. So, without any further ado, This is week 16, the final video that the Green Times are gonna be making for football, but I will be doing other videos on other things, just not on the NFL unless there's something going on in free agency or changing of the guards on the coaching staff or something big move going in the front office. That'll be the only way I make a video, but other than that, it will not be a video made for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video on a good segment. This is your boy, the Green Talons. Come with you guys with another video. Week 16, Eagles lose 2014. Nothing more that could be said there. I give you all my statistics. You can, up to you, do your own evaluation. This is your boy signing out. Peace, one love. I'm out.